Picture this. You're getting ready for your day and suddenly your heart starts to race. Your palms grow sweaty, your mind spins with what-ifs, and you can't quite catch your breath. Maybe you even feel a bit dizzy, unsure of why this is happening at all. If this sounds familiar, you're certainly not alone. In fact, anxiety disorders affect around 48 million adults in the United States every year. That's a staggering number. And what's more concerning is that each year, more and more people report feeling anxious. 32% said they felt more anxious in 2022, 37% in 2023, and now up to 43% in 2024. But the good news is that anxiety research is on the rise. There's a growing body of scientists and mental health professionals passionately searching for answers about why we experience anxiety and, most importantly, how we can treat it. Today, I want to take you on a journey through some of the most recent findings in anxiety research, told in a way that's easy to understand, even if you don't have a background in science. Let's start at the root. What actually causes anxiety? Researchers have discovered that it's not just one thing. It's a multi-layered issue influenced by brain function, genetics, hormones, emotions, diet, environment, and even the gut microbiome. Imagine a young child who's constantly on edge, worried about school, social gatherings, or even just stepping outside. A group of scientists studied children like this who weren't on any medications, and they found something remarkable. In kids with anxiety disorders, certain areas of the brain tend to light up too much. However, when these same children went through cognitive behavioral therapy, often called CBT, the brain overactivity started to settle down. It's like turning down the volume knob in an overly loud room. Now picture another child who faced abuse or neglect early in life. Those tough experiences may have messed with the brain's attentional circuitry, creating what you might think of as a miswired alarm system that stays on high alert into adulthood. That's one way childhood trauma can make us more vulnerable to anxiety later. And that's not all. Hormones, especially in women, can play a huge role. When estrogen levels are low, it appears to be harder to bounce back from anxiety with regular treatment. Some researchers suggest timing therapy sessions when estrogen is highest, like in the second week of the menstrual cycle, to see if that could boost the impact of therapy. But it's not just about what's going on in the brain or hormones. Scientists are becoming increasingly fascinated by the gut. Strange as it may sound, it looks like the tiny microbes in our digestive system could be influencing anxiety-related behaviors, particularly in social situations. While we're still uncovering exactly how this works, there's a real possibility that looking after your gut health through diet, probiotics, and other means could eventually become part of a comprehensive anxiety treatment plan. Of course, some of us inherit a higher risk of anxiety through family genes, while others find that a stressful job, a traumatic event, or substance abuse can either trigger or worsen those anxious feelings. The takeaway here is that anxiety is like a puzzle with many different pieces, and each person's puzzle looks a little bit different. Having talked about what anxiety can look like and where it might come from, let's zoom in on one type of anxiety disorder called panic disorder. Panic disorder can make people feel like they're suddenly facing an overwhelming wave of fear. Their heart races, they might break into a sweat, feel dizzy, or even believe they're about to lose control or die. It's terrifying, yet there are treatments and support out there for those living with these intense attacks. Speaking of treatments, the world of anxiety therapy and medication is evolving at lightning speed. For a long time, medications like selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, and benzodiazepines have been the go-to solutions. But today, researchers are looking at some pretty bold new options. One of the most talked about developments is LSD, also known as MM120. In a recent clinical trial, a single dose of LSD significantly improved anxiety symptoms for many participants. And nearly half of those who received a 100 microgram dose went into remission by week 12. It sounds almost surreal, but it's real data that's catching a lot of attention. Next, there's a therapy called LCGA17, a peptide treatment in development by a group called Lactacor. So far, it's shown promise in animal trials for helping with generalized anxiety disorder, PTSD, and panic disorder, offering a hopeful sign as it heads toward clinical testing. And then there's BNC210, a non-stating medication that takes aim at the part of the brain controlling uncertainty and memory formation without knocking you out like some traditional anti-anxiety meds can. Another candidate, KNT127, looks at the role of delta opioid receptors, which opens up yet another area of the brain for scientists to explore in the quest for relief from anxiety. But not all breakthroughs revolve around prescription drugs. Some revolve around new ways to deliver therapy. Take transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, which uses magnetic pulses to spark certain areas of the brain. It's already approved for depression and OCD, and now there's evidence that it could help people with anxiety as well. Virtual reality, or VR, is also making therapy sessions more engaging and accessible, allowing individuals to practice facing their fears in a safe, controlled virtual environment. And for those who can't easily get to a doctor's office, web-based treatments offer a flexible and convenient way to receive help from wherever you are. Let's not forget that many people also turn to complementary and alternative treatments. Things like ashwagandha, chamomile, kava kava, lavender extract, and magnesium. Research reviews have shown these may offer noticeable relief for some individuals, though the scientific community agrees we need larger studies to be sure of their safety and benefits. Meanwhile, the more traditional anti-anxiety medicines remain widely used. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, help keep serotonin, the feel-good chemical, active in the brain longer. Serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, SNRIs, do the same but for two chemicals, serotonin and norepinephrine. Benzodiazepines calm the body by amplifying the effect of GABA, which is a kind of brake for brain activity. And then you have antihistamines that can sometimes help relieve anxiety, among other anxiolytics that work through different mechanisms. The costs for these treatments can vary a lot. Some are available as low-cost generics, while others might be quite expensive. So, what's the future holding for anxiety research? Well, there's no shortage of exciting ideas, but a few challenges remain. Researchers sometimes run into roadblocks accessing clinical trial data, and some of the newly developed treatments have only been tested in small groups, so larger trials are needed to confirm the results. But interest in this field is growing, with plenty of conferences around the corner. For instance, the Anxiety and Depression Association of America will hold a major conference in Las Vegas in April 2025, focusing on the youth mental health crisis. Then, in June 2025, there's a summit in Paris on depression, anxiety, and stress management. And looking ahead to 2026, ADAA will convene again in Chicago. These events give researchers, clinicians, and the public a place to share the latest discoveries and learn from each other. If you're a researcher, or if you know someone eager to make a difference, there are funding opportunities through groups like the American Psychological Foundation, the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation, the Wellcome Trust, and the National Institutes of Health. These organizations are fueling the breakthroughs we'll rely on tomorrow. For anyone seeking support right now, groups like the Anxiety and Depression Association of America and the National Alliance on Mental Illness provide not only helpful information, but also community. Meanwhile, the National Institute of Mental Health continues to conduct and fund key studies on anxiety disorders, helping us map the brain to understand why some people develop anxiety and others don't. Ultimately, anxiety disorders remain a significant public health concern, but the more we learn, the more hopeful the outlook becomes. Researchers have started to pinpoint the intricate ways that brain function, hormones, emotional states, gut health, genetics, environmental factors, and lifestyle choices can all team up to produce that telltale surge of anxiety. New treatments, from psychedelics to peptides, are entering the pipeline, while innovative uses of virtual reality, TMS, and online interventions promise to expand access to care. Most importantly, experts agree that anxiety is highly treatable. The trick is making sure that people who need help know about these options and can take advantage of them. Increased awareness, better funding, and a more coordinated push among healthcare professionals are bringing us closer to a future where more people can manage and ultimately overcome debilitating anxiety. Thanks to ongoing research and collaborative efforts, there's genuine hope for improved, more personalized treatment and a brighter path forward for anyone living with anxiety. So, if that pounding heart or racing mind ever catches you off guard, remember that you're standing at the forefront of one of the most rapidly evolving areas of mental health. The path to relief may involve something as futuristic as a magnetic pulse to your brain, a single dose of a psychedelic, or even a deeper look at the bacteria living in your gut. With the work of dedicated scientists, clinicians, and advocacy groups, we're uncovering new ways to ease that heavy burden of anxiety, and in the process hopefully help people just like you and me lead calmer, healthier lives. For further information about the content of this video, or if you need help with anxiety or panic disorder, please contact the professionals at QualiBright Family Psychiatry. Visit our website at qualibrighthealth.com, call us at 888-511-3697, or email us at myhealth@qualibrighthealth.com.